Hello everybody, welcome to lesson 4 of our measurement unit called selecting units. In this lesson you should be able to decide on the most appropriate unit to measure length or distance. So let's start with something that's familiar to us, base 10 blocks. So let's imagine that the ones block on the far right is our smallest unit that we've worked with, which is a millimeter. So that's going to be 1 millimeter. What would our tens block represent? Well, we know that 10 millimeters is equal to 1 centimeter. We're going to skip the orange hundreds block for a second, and we're going to jump over to the large thousands block here. So it would take 100 of these rods to make one of the thousands blocks, 100 of them. So in our measurement unit, we learned that 100 centimeters makes 1 meter. Okay. In base 10 blocks, we know that it takes 1,000 of these little ones blocks to make a 1,000 block. Okay, times 1,000. And so, in real life, it also takes 1,000 millimeters to make a meter. Now let's get back to this hundreds block. There is a unit that is made up of 10 centimeters. It's a unit that's not very commonly used. It's a unit called a decimeter. I'll spell it here for you. Decimeter. Okay, so it would take 10 centimeters to make a decimeter and 10 decimeters to make a meter. So in our meter stick, we have 10 decimeters, so those are the blue and white sections, and the second meter stick here below, so each one of these is a decimeter. We know that our meter stick is made up of 100 centimeters, and if we were to count the millimeters, there are 1,000 of them. So here's something you're all familiar with, your rulers. Rulers are typically 30 centimeters long. So those are the units we see marked here. The really tiny units, of course, are millimeters. It's 300 millimeters, and we have it divided here into 1, 2, 3 decimeters in length. These units, if you have 12 of them, these larger units at the bottom here, ignore those please. Those are inches. We don't use those in our metric system. So let's fill in this table. How many decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters would we have if we had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meters? Go ahead and fill that in. Come back when you're ready. All right, so the pattern is quite obvious here. We have 10 decimeters, 100 centimeters, 1,000 millimeters for every meter. So if we write the units from smallest to largest, we obviously have millimeters, which is a millimeter is the length, the width of a pencil lead maybe. Then we have centimeters, which might be about the width of your pinky finger. We have decimeters, which might be the length of your pencil. And we have meters, which is approximately the height of a doorknob above the ground on a door. Which measurement is closer? So we have to be really careful about looking at the units here. We have all sorts of different units: millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, meters. So let's be really careful. Go ahead and try these out. Come back when you are ready. So remember, 5 millimeters would be half of a centimeter, so 4 in this case would be closer to 0. 4 centimeters would be also closer to 0 decimeters, because 5 centimeters would be half of 1 decimeter. So 5 and above we would round up. 48 centimeters would round down, because 50 centimeters is half of a meter. Now these ones, 6 millimeters is closer to 1 centimeter, so we're rounding up. 35 centimeters would be exactly halfway between 3 and 4 decimeters. But 5 or more, we raise the score. so it would round up. And 249 centimeters is just 1 centimeter shy of the halfway mark between 2 and 3 meters, and so it would still round down to 2 meters. Now in this exercise, you're going to have to determine which unit of measurement you would use to measure these various items. So pause the video, think about that. We're not looking at numbers at all here, we're just looking at what unit of measurement do you think would best be used to measure these different things. Most books are not very thick, so we'd probably use millimeters to measure the thickness. The length of a chocolate bar would probably be best measured in centimeters. The height of our school would probably best be measured in meters. Height of a tree, also in meters, and mountains are measured. The heights are also measured in meters. From a window to a door, so in a room, probably in meters. Distance from your school to your home. So now we're looking at larger distances. We know that 1,000 meters makes a kilometer. The kilo part means 1,000. So we would probably use kilometers to measure a distance from school to home. Unless you lived like right across the street from the school, then maybe you'd use meters. Distance from your shoulder to your fingers. That would probably be best be measured in centimeters. From the Earth to the moon, we measure that in kilometers. Distance between your eyes are fairly close, so probably millimeters would be the best for that. Which unit makes sense in the sentence? So here are some sentences with numbers now. So decide which unit makes the most sense. Pause the video, come back when you are ready. So a jar is about 25 what tall? Well, if it was only 25 millimeters, that would only be 2.5 centimeters. So that would be a really miniature jar. So centimeters would probably be the best. And that would probably be kind of a tall jar. Think of your ruler. Your ruler is 30 centimeters long. A giraffe would probably be about 5 meters tall. A pen is about 15 centimeters long. A small table would be about 12 decimeters. 12 decimeters would be just over a meter, would actually be 1.2 meters or 120 centimeters. So that'd probably be appropriate for a small table. And a dime would be about 18 millimeters across. So let's review some benchmarks. So these are things that we understand in everyday life because we see them all the time. We see doors all the time. A door is about 2 meters tall. An average car is about 4 meters long. A school bus is about 10 meters long. And a football or soccer field, a full-sized one, not the one that's in the schoolyard, but one that you might see in a stadium, is about 100 meters long. So an adult ski, if an adult were standing next to their skis, the skis would probably be slightly taller than them, would be about 2 meters long. All right, go ahead and try these. Again, come back when you're ready. An adult volleyball player, so volleyball players tend to be fairly tall, would be about 2 meters tall, so about the height of a door. The distance between Winnipeg, Manitoba and Calgary, Alberta is about 1,330 kilometers. Kilometers are used to measure distances between cities. A tiger is between 2 and 3 meters long. Okay, tigers can be fairly large animals. And Lake Ontario is about 85 kilometers wide. If you were thinking of putting like centimeters or decimeters, that would be a really tiny lake. That might just be a puddle. All right, that is it for our lesson. Go ahead and work on pages 106 to 107 in your Jump Math book. Please ask for help if you need.